This week's Who Would Win of the Week is Hagrid, bless up, versus the BFG.
The Big Friendly Giant.
Yes. Oh my god. Hagrid is also a very friendly giant, perhaps the friendliest of giants. Here's the issue with this fight is
that is a BFG. And I don't mean Big Friendly Giant. I mean that's a big fucking giant. 24 feet tall.
But here's the thing is they're both such great guys. Violence is not in their nature, either of them. And I feel like during this fight, both of them would kind of be like, you know what, you go first. However, thinking this out, here's the difference. Hagrid, because remember that scene in the first Harry Potter movie when he goes to pick up Harry and Uncle Vernon says, I will not have some crackpot old fool teach him magic tricks. We see a side of Hagrid that we do not often see, where he gets right up to Uncle Vernon, points that umbrella in his face, and goes, do not... I think about this line all the time for some reason. I can't remember it right now. Do not...
Palms are sweaty. Knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous. But on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what Hagrid said in the very first Harry Potter movie.
Do not speak bad of Albus Dumbledore in front of me. So Hagrid can flip that switch.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking when you said that, is like, I agree with you that there would have to be something at stake for these, to resort to violence. And I think, protection of somebody is what would be on the line for Hagrid. Like, whether it be any of the three, he doesn't really need to protect Dumbledore, but he, don't speak poorly on his name, as you say. I don't know too much about the BFG in terms of his story.
So the BFG, I'll toss you in a little bit here. So the BFG, he lives amongst a community of giants, and they're all terrible. They're all the worst. They eat humans. They're violent. That's their whole deal. Is they enjoy being evil and they want to be more evil. So the BFG is kind of shunned from his community because he's nice. And I think he goes around and he gives people good dreams or something, or he takes away bad dreams, one of those. And so here's the thing, when he meets this little girl and is trying to keep her away from the mean giants so the mean giants don't eat her, he does have to kind of step to them, but his whole approach is not aggressive. It's literally all defensive moves. So he can throw down when he needs to, but it's only to get away.
So he collects dreams from a magic lake and uses a magic trumpet to blow them into the heads of those who need a bit of happiness.
I mean, it doesn't get any more BFG than that.
Yeah, she was about to get eaten.
Yeah.
By the boogeyman. And the BFG rescues her from being the main course because he's a vegetarian whose major food group is a smelly vegetable called snozcumber.
Yeah, that's right.
Snozcumber. What a good name for a smelly vegetable.
That sounds like a word you would come up with.
So Hagrid is about 11 feet 3 inches tall.
Mm-hmm.
The BFG is 24 feet tall.
Correct. A little bit of a size difference.
But okay, let's talk magic.
Okay.
So that's kind of a good explanation, too, of what the BFG can do. He isn't magic per se, but he lives in a magical universe. He lives in a magical timeline where what do we say? Everything is supernatural. So, where did it go? We had it, remember?
Mm-mm.
Something about animals.
I just saw fucking Donald Trump. What does he have to do with the BFG? We're going to use the BFG. We're going to beat Putin with the BFG. We're going to send BFGs into the Ukraine and solve the problem.
Either way, oh yeah, so the type of magic in the book is a natural magic associated with elements of the earth, like
Right.
plants, animals, and stars.
Got it.
So he can't necessarily whip up a spell, but he can use the things around, like the things around him, things that he has on his person are in themselves magic.
Yeah, yeah. That's a different. But this is what we were talking about kind of before, when we were deciding on who would win. Is like the BFG does not have necessarily any inherent magic in him. Like he can't, snap his fingers or zap anything. Hagrid, obviously being a wizard, does have some of that. And yes, in Harry Potter they do use wands, but those are conduits to channel their magic.
Yes.
And obviously, if you look at like Harry before he knows he's a wizard, he's just making all these magical things appear because the wizards in that world do have innate magical ability that's just in them. That's the biggest difference between these two. Now, it's a curious thing because Hagrid only didn't even complete his third year. He got kicked out in his third year at Hogwarts. So his magic is it's a little chaotic. It's kind of unstable in some ways, but that might end up benefiting him.
Well, that's the thing that they say about Hagrid. There's that whole conspiracy behind Hagrid, which I choose to believe in. That, like, had he, not been screwed over and expelled because of Tom Riddle doing him wrong, that he would be, like, the most powerful wizard.
I've never heard that theory, but I don't agree with that.
Okay, well, Google will watch.
Let's see. I want a mom who can use Google because she's alive. Most powerful wizards.
Oh, I spelled that. That's probably why.
Is Hagrid the most powerful wizard? Rubius Hagrid, keeper of keys and games at
See what Reddit
Hogwarts.
has to say.
Rubius Hagrid
May actually be more powerful than Dumbledore. Dumbledore, this is what it says, Andrew. Dumbledore states multiple times that he would trust Hagrid with his life, and blah, blah, blah. His physical stature aside, it seems that the even more sinister of beasts have befriended him.
Word.
Hagrid fought 6 ministry officials, including 5 Aurors at once, and they were having trouble.
But I also
apparently Voldemort was holding him captive in the Forbidden Forest, but Voldemort doesn't seem like the person to hold anyone captive. That's semantics. Rereading everything, I realized Hagrid moves the plot forward a lot through luck. For example, in the first book, when he tells Harry basically everything he needs to know to get the Philosopher's Stone, this makes me weary if it's actually luck or if Hagrid actually foresees how everything will succeed. Hagrid is the first one to introduce Harry to magic-ish. Fair. These are not great talking points.
I think that's all circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, not great talking points. But
it's not going to hold up in court.
Damn.
Putting
cast a number of spells throughout the books in the
but see, look at this. This is a great example. He tries to turn Dudley into a full pig, but only gives him a tail.
Yeah. So it would be sporadic, but I do agree with you that might benefit him because he might be trying to do something he might be trying to do something to the BFG to kind of combat like the fight. Like, hey, like we don't need to go there. Bzz, and accidentally like turn him into like a fly, and then without realizing that's a BFG, if the fly starts buzzing his head, he swats the fly and kills it, and then he cries because that's actually a great point. Hagrid would never, ever in a million years want to kill the BFG. He would want to
incapacitate him.
Not even domesticate him, but he would like try to raise him.
Right. But the BFG is also like, he's not like Buckbeak. Like, he's a conscious creature.
Yeah, but so was Hagrid's brother.
Yeah, but Hagrid's brother was...
A little slow.
He was slow on the uptake. But, again, with Hagrid's lack of training possibly benefiting him, it does mean that his magic would most likely show itself more often during periods where Hagrid is under emotional distress. And if the BFG is about to stomp him, that's certainly an example of when that might happen. And if he does, then, something could happen. Like Hagrid, there's examples in the books of people like, turning themselves into rubber or whatever, So
and I feel like the BFG would have ways to combat Hagrid's version of magic with his own like natural elements of magic, right? Like whether it be deflect spells or
that's true,
like protect himself from their effects.
Yeah.
Through like pulling out like seeds and like a dandelion, and it coats the magic that Hagrid's throwing at him and like stops it. But I think eventually Hagrid's magic in those moments when the BFG was finally like, I need to put an end to this, like let's go step on him, and he wouldn't even really be able to like Hagrid's half
That's
his size,
true.
so it's
Right,
not like he can just squish
He can't
him
step
like
on him. Yeah.
like you're not
You're
gonna
right.
walk around and just squish like a 4-year-old with your foot. Like
Yeah.
you could do some damage to him, but you're not just gonna step on him. I don't know. I think that because of that, like when he would try to do that, and like again, Hagrid has he has a knack for dealing with large creatures like this.
That's
and
true.
I think that gives him an advantage. And when the going gets tough, Hagrid will get going, and he will take down the BFG. I'm taking Hagrid in this fight.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think, because, again, neither of these guys want conflict, but if it has to go down, Hagrid can flip that switch. The BFG can't.
Yeah.
He just does not have that juice in him. And because of Hagrid's innate ability to use magic, we can't say that enough, Hagrid takes it without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, we're taking Hagrid. Lock it in.
Lock it in for sure for Hagrid.
Hagrid with the queen sweep over the BFG. Vote on that on Friday on Instagram.